When we materialized on the surface, my spider sense told me that there were no Borg around. However, I did pull my phaser out just in case. We looked around, and Captain Carr found a way down into the missile complex. I opened the hatch and let everyone down. We made it to the control room, and it was a mess. Small fires were still going, and the place reeked of dead bodies and smoke. I looked at Dr. Crusher as she stood next to me. She took one look at her medical tricorder and said they were all dead. I looked around inside. Captain Picard said to see if one of them was Cochrane. Then he told Data to go look at the warp ship. I followed Data and Jean-Luc down a hallway till we made it to the warp ship. I looked in awe, but had no time for gawking. Without needing to be asked, Data waved his tricorder over the ship and said that there is no structural damage. However, there is damage to the fuselage and primary coolant system. Jean-Luc said that we should have the original blueprints in the Enterprise computer. Before we could say anything else, my spider sense kicked in, and I threw Captain Picard against the wall as bullets whizzed past our heads. Knowing it was one of the locals, because the Borg would not have used 21st century weapons, I shouted down to "Hold your fire! We're here to help you!" A female voice shouted from down below, "Bullshit!" Then sprayed us with more bullets. I was wondering what to do, since I could not get to her without getting shot, or revealing a lot more than what we wanted to, when Data said he could handle this. He handed me his tricorder, and then he just jumped down. As he fell, gunshots echoed throughout the chamber. Then there was a loud clank, as Data landed on a metal beam just above where the woman was. There was a softer clank when he got to the main floor, followed by more gunshots. I could not see what was going on, but I did hear Data say, "Greetings," and I stifled a laugh. Dr. Crusher was standing right next to me as she heard the gunshots, when Data called up, "Captain, this woman requires medical attention." Beverly turned to find a way down when I grabbed her arm and shouted down, "Data, is there anyone else down there?" I heard back, "Negative, Captain Dibble." I grabbed Dr. Crusher by the waist and said, "Hold on." Then I attached the weapon line to the ceiling and gently dropped us down to the floor. Beverly ran to the woman, who was unconscious, slouched next to the missile. Captain Picard joined us just as Dr. Crusher finished analyzing the woman. She said that she has severe theta radiation poisoning. Data said that the radiation was coming from the damaged throttle assembly. Dr. Crusher pulled out a hypospray and said that we all needed to be inoculated, and she needed to get the woman to sickbay. This was not the first time Beverly has pulled this stunt. I was about to give her a lecture, but she cut me off. "Please, Jonathan, no lectures about the Prime Directive. I will keep her unconscious." The Prime Directive is Starfleet's General Order No. 1. In short, we cannot interfere in the natural development of any planet, and that includes Earth, whenever there is any time travel going on. Realizing that she was right, I said, "Very well. Have Commander Riker beam down with a search party. We need to find Cochrane." Dr. Zephyrin Cochrane was the inventor of the warp ship, the Phoenix, and the father of warp drive. It was crucial that we find him. Dr. Crusher tapped to combat and said, "Crush that Enterprise." 2 to beam directly to sickbay. Seconds later, they disappeared in the transporter beam. Captain Picard looked at the Phoenix and said there was less than 24 hours before the ship had to be launched. He tapped his own combat and said, "Picard to engineering." Geordi LaForge's voice came on over the little intercom. "LaForge here. Geordi, Cochrane's ship was damaged in the attack. Get down here with an engineering detail. We got work to do." With that, Captain Picard, Data, and myself headed for the Phoenix again. It did not take long for the engineering team to get to work. We stayed out of the way and just looked at the Phoenix. I said, "This is incredible. This ship used to be a nuclear missile." Data said that there is some historic irony, that a ship of mass destruction was changed so that it could bring an era of peace. I left that thinking of the Dominion knocking on our doorstep back home. Then both Captain Picard and myself placed our hands on the Phoenix. Even with his emotion chip, Data was a little confused about what we were doing. Picard smiled and said, "It's a boyhood fantasy, Data. We see this ship all the time at the Smithsonian, but we're unable to touch it." Data asked if tactile contact alters our perception of the Phoenix. I said, "Oh yes, Data. Sometimes, even touching an object can have an emotional response, and make things seem more real." Then getting to the spirit of things, Data touched the side of the Phoenix. but all it did was point out the flaws of the ship. I was about to tell Data that he was missing the point when out of nowhere I heard Deanna's voice say, "Would the four of you like to be left alone?" I spun around and she was up above us smiling. I straightened up and asked about Cochrane. She shook her head and said that he was not in the complex. Picard spoke up. "He has to be here. There was something more important to him than this ship. This flight. It was his dream." Deanna said that we need to consider the possibility that Dr. Cochrane was killed in the attack. Jean-Luc sighed and said, "If that's true, in the future, may die with him."